Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the next installment on our Route 66 trip. We are in Winslow, Arizona. We're going to continue westward across Arizona out to Flagstaff today. And still flying in the high desert here. It's a beautiful day. We're midday, live weather, live time. So let's hop on board. We're going to taxi out to runway 29er, and we will get ready to go. The current weather here is a little odd. I'm now getting wind information. 330 at 5. So runway 29 will be the runway we use, and it is looking pretty clear. Airport elevation is 5,000 feet, so we're going to go up to about 8,000 feet for the cruise and see the sights. It looks like the weather will not be an issue for this flight. So let's hop into the cockpit and get her ready to go. Alright, so we can get rid of stick here since I do have one in front of me. First thing we're going to do is going to turn the master on, get some electrical power into the aircraft. The fuel tanks are set to both, and everything else is looking pretty good. So we're going to turn on our nav lights and our beacon lights just to let everybody know that we are now up and running. Turn on our fuel pump. We're going to set the mixture to full rich. Get a little bit of fuel flow going to prime the engine. It is fuel injected. Crack the throttle to 1/4 inch, and we're good to go. Master and mags to both, and starting engine. There we go. Engine is now up and running. We can turn the avionics on, and we get ourselves set up. So everything is coming online. There we go. We'll bring up the panel there and get rid of this for a second. I'm going to put in a quick route just as a point to point so that we know where we're going. So we are here at let's get this entered in. There. KINW, which is Winslow, Arizona. There's KINW. There we are. We'll enter that in. We are going to go off on runway 29, and we'll now go down to our destination, which is going to be KFLG for Flagstaff. We're flying the Cessna 172 with the Garmin 1000 and the working title mod for the Garmin 1000 at Flagstaff. And we're going to be landing on runway 21. And that gives us a little bit of the extra information that you see on the screen. So that's all good and set. We don't need an en route section. It does give us our line of path. We will range out slightly on that as well. There we go. Alright, so let's get the engine up to about 1,000 RPMs. We are going to have to lean out for takeoff, which we'll do just before we get going, given the higher altitude here. We want maximum power available. So current barometer is 3102, so we will come down and set that. Or 3102, 3012. There we go. 3012 is in and set. There's our altitude, 4,880 feet. We're going to climb up to 8,000 for the cruise, so we'll set that in there. There we go. And everything is looking good. Alright, so Beacon lights on, nav light on, taxi light now coming on. We're going to be good to taxi out. A nice moon rising there. So here's the airport. We're going to taxi down here and then down along, and then we'll head out the just trying to see which way I need to go here. Oh, we need to go over that way. I'm going to taxi out this way. There, quite the hump there on the runway, and we're going to taxi down here, and we'll be taking off to the west out over there. I do have some extra scenery bits in, such as towers and antennas and stuff, so it should look nice. Okay, so let's parking brake off. Let's see, we just do a hard left turn here. Taxi down and get ready to go. Watch out for the police car. Shouldn't be too far of a taxi. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been over a month since we've done a Route 66 flight. We've got about a half dozen flights left to go. We're in Arizona now, one more state to go. When we get to the western edge of Arizona, we'll pass into California. And then we will be heading over the mountains and then down where we're going to end up on the Pacific Ocean, just north of Los Angeles, I believe. Santa Monica. The wind is pushing that tail. Head up now to the taxiway. You can see what's written on the pavement there. It says Winslow. Get around the buildings here. Good to go. Our next live stream, we're back in the Phoenix A320 on Friday at this time, 1930 Zulu. We'll be flying from in Scandinavia. We'll be departing out of Stockholm, Sweden. So it should be a good flight back in Europe, live on VATSIM. Looks like a SUV dealership there. Live on VATSIM, and we will be off doing that this weekend. A little bit of a special thing I'm working up. It's a VATSIM event, and I think we're going to take part, and it's going to be a series of flights over the weekend. So I'm working on putting that together. If you want more information about that, it is available on the Discord, or it will be when I put it up there. I'll throw the Discord up in the chat. You can also find the Discord link in the video descriptions on both Twitch and YouTube. If you want to come and join us. Of course, the weekend stream, since it is a VATSIM event, will all be on VATSIM. So you're going to have to be up and on there. But we're going to be flying in and around England. So it should be interesting. Lots of ATC planned. So it should give our ATC skills and real ops a good workout. And more will be posted up on the Discord, but it is going to be a series of live streams over the weekend. So we're almost here. We'll come up to the hold short line. We'll get ourselves lined up. we'll get the engine leaned out and ready to go. Alright, so we'll get back in the cockpit. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring flaps down to the first notch for takeoff. We're going to bring the engine up to 1800 RPM. That's a good power setting for making mixture adjustments. So we're going to hold at, get her down to 1800. There we go. And now we're going to start to lean the engine out. And as we lean the engine out, we'll see the power increase. And there's RPM coming up. The fuel flow should start going down because we're reducing the excess fuel to the engine. There we go, almost 100 extra RPM there. Oh, she's starting to drop. So we'll add a bit. I thought 1890. There, 1900. That's what we're going to want. So we'll bring the power back down. So we're now leaned out for altitude because, again, if we were below 3,000 feet, I wouldn't worry about it. But because we're above 3,000 feet, we're going to want it leaned out. So landing lights are on, strobe lights are on, taxi light can come off. Bring the parking brake off. We'll move out and get ready to go. GPS is showing, the direction we want to be going, but we're not too worried about that at the moment. Because we are going to be following the road, 66. That's just giving us a kind of indicator of which way the airport is that we're heading to. Okay, so we got a slight wind from the right. We are all lined up and ready to go. Again, we're going to be climbing up to 8,000 feet. So once we take off, we're steady in the climb. 500 feet up, we will retract flaps, and then we'll set ourselves to climb out at about 85 knots up to 8,000 feet. And we'll get ourselves back on Route 66 for the views. So power coming up, brakes are released. Gonna go to full power. Full power set, and as you can see, the engine is only showing 2280 RPM. That's because we're already at 5,000 feet almost, 4,800, 4,900 feet. So airspeed's alive. Rotation speed is about 55 knots. We're just going to add a little bit of back pressure in and let her take herself off when she's ready to go. And there she goes. And we're going to let the aircraft accelerate. We don't want to get too high, but 5 degrees is fine. I don't have a lot of power to play with. There's the airport. See that wind is pushing us slightly. That's fine. There's 70 knots. Hold about 5 degrees. There we go. So there's 500 feet. The flap's coming up. Should be nice and stable. There's 80 knots. We're going to go heading autopilot on. We're going to go vertical speed mode, and we're going to tag it around 500 feet per minute climb. And there we go. And we are bouncing around a little bit, but there is Winslow and the old Interstate 40, which is the old Route 66, is off to our right, so we're going to head over there. Zoom following it. So again, we're down in the deserts here of of Arizona. Now there is an interesting landmark coming up. We're going to go visit. It's Meteor Crater. So we are going to see if we can find it. So I know roughly where it is. Basically, we're going to follow the road out this way for a little bit. And bounced around in the turbulence. There's 6,000 feet. So we're going to bring the, we're climbing at 500 feet a minute. Again, we're going to 8,000. Give us a few thousand feet to play with. I'll give us a extra 100 feet per minute. So we had seen a lot of the red, the more reddish desert earlier. It's now turning back to that brown color. Going to keep heading along. There's not a lot out here at the moment. A couple interchanges on the highway, exit ramp, exit roads leading off into the desert. Again, it's very cool to be able to see the terrain from above out here. Alright, so we're down to 75. Now we're going to come down to 500 feet now. We're almost at VY, which is our best climb rate. Slipping a little bit under it, so we'll go down to 400 feet. Just going to check our mixture. Yeah, we're about right, and we're still at full power. We've got 1,000 feet to go, so we continue to climb up. So like I said, I think there's about 6 legs left on our trip as we finish off Arizona and then go into California. See some of the terrain starting to build off in the distance as we hit the mountains there. I can't remember the name of the mountain range that runs down through California. And we'll have to look it up at some point. So we'll be coming up shortly to our turnoff. So I'm sure that you've seen photos of it. It's pretty famous. The Arizona's Meteor Crater. So it's an impact site from a recent meteor. So it hasn't suffered much erosion or anything, and given the fact that it's in the desert, there's not a lot of liquid erosion from rainfall or snowfall. So it's pretty well preserved. So we're going to head down and take a look at it. I think I can see it coming up right now. It's definitely something to see, and it is pretty distinct. So we're going to turn here, and we're going to head down towards it. Should be able to see it coming up. It is fairly huge. See how we're doing altitude wise. Yeah, we're good. So we're full power. It's coming up on altitude now. It's going to pull the power back to 2500. There we go. I believe that's the crater right there. We'll head over, give it a little bit of a flyover so we can get a look at it, see how well it's modeled here in the sim. It's not a long leg today. We're just heading over to Flagstaff, but I think this is the highlight of the trip. Just come down here and see the crater. Circle over and get some views. This is the view you'd have if you were flying over for real. There's the welcome center. You can see on the rim edge of it right in front of us on the road leading in. Not sure the size of the meteor that hit the ground here. I think they said it was the size of a school bus. You can see the damage it did and the effect it had in the impact. Oh, well, hello there, Wayne. Haven't seen you in quite a while. Good to see you. So Wayne's taking a Spitfire down into the crater. It is pretty impressive. It's somewhere I've always wanted to visit. The meteor only just missed it. Yeah, boy, was that visitor center lucky. Wow, look at that, eh? That is something. Of course, we see craters like this all over the moon, where it's been pummeled, and because there's no atmosphere or erosion, it's not really aging in any way or disappearing. But here you get to see almost like it came in a little bit of an angle. Shoot out this side with this wall being a little bit steeper. Pretty amazing. This is a meteor. Imagine an asteroid. Well, you could look at the Gulf of Mexico, and that was mainly dug out by an asteroid. Huge impact. In fact, they think that that asteroid is the one that killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. How's that for the sim? And you can see our shadow just down there, very faintly. I don't even know if that's going to come up on the stream or not. But it looks pretty amazing. Alright. So we're going to head back up to Route 66 and then carry on our way out to Flagstaff. Let's see where that indicator is. Yeah, that'll, something around there will do. That is pretty neat. It's a If you're ever in Arizona, down in the Winslow area, Meteor Crater is such a fine sight to see. So we're going to carry on out over the desert. We'll head back up to the interstate, which, as I said, is the old Route 44. Or Route 66. I don't know where 44 came from. We're going to keep heading slightly north of west as we carry on across the great state of Arizona. So we started this trip a few months ago out of Chicago. We left Chicago and basically headed southwest down through the breadbasket all the way down to the desert area here. We've come across, and now we're heading westward off towards California to wrap up the trip. We're about 32 miles away from the airport in Flagstaff at the moment. And as you can see, we're starting to get some definition and changes on the horizon, which means that we are heading into more hilly or mountainous terrain. Should be interesting. Once again, you can see in some places the old Route 66 traveling alongside of the interstate, and others it's completely overlaid it. But this is the route that was taken. Back online here. We'll keep following the interstate. Still missing Kevin in his DC-3 when he does these flights with us. He's away this summer doing some work, so not currently with us. Hopefully he'll be able to join us at the end when we finish off the series flying into Santa Monica at the edge of the Pacific Ocean. We still have one more flight to do in the DC-6 as well to finish off our around the world trip, that being the San Francisco to Chicago leg, which we'll be doing in September once everything settles down after the summer. So we're going to be going a little bit more of a built-up area, and some parks, and a little bit more green space, I think, coming up. And that takes us into Flagstaff. There goes Wayne. Hope you're flying with the desert modifications, the bigger oil coolers and radiator coolers. It's going to be hot for that thing out here. Beautiful day out here today in Arizona. So, Flagstaff, what are we doing weather-wise? Well, winds are 220 at 8, so we're going to be landing on runway 21. Visibility 10 miles. Well, they're talking about thunderstorms in the area. Not seeing it, but we've got a little bit of a build-up over there. Broken clouds at 9,500 feet, 24 degrees, and 3031 on the altimeters. So we're going to go inside. We'll set those now. 3031 is a little bit higher pressure than we have here. What? Hang on. You're British. You're not allowed to undo your collar button. I'm sure that's against some regulation somewhere. There we go. So we've set 3031 on the altimeters. And we'll just keep tracking along here. Everything is looking very nice. If you want to join us for the last of these flights, we're on multiplayer. And we're scheduled to run these on Wednesdays at 1930 Zulu. The next flight will depart out of Flagstaff and we'll carry on to the west. The weather's been pretty good for the series. We've only had to, I think, twice set to preset weather, where it's just been unflyable. We have had some high winds, but we've flown in them and dealt with them. And looks like we're getting into a little bit more scrubland down here. You can start to see some vegetation coming in. And the green starts to replace the browns. Of course, as we get higher in elevation, the altitude, the air temperature is going to decrease and will be a bit more hospitable to wildlife and plant life. Very, very nice looking out here. And we've got the moon up following along. Let's see. Find out what that building is there. That is a casino. The Twin Arrows Navajo Casino and Resort. Right there. So if you're up for a little bit of 21 or blackjack, there's the place to be. There's Wayne coming in for a nice little formation. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit slow for him. It does have the right paint scheme for here, the brown and green. Blends in very nicely. It's not flying a Northern Europe watery gray-green. So we're going to be coming up to the little town of Winona. Not too bad cloud cover wise. It's looking pretty good. It is a little bumpy as we're running into a little bit of weather and wind over the ground. Okay, winds are about 8 knots, so A couple thousand feet up, you would feel it undulating. That's called mechanical turbulence. We're probably running into a little bit of thermal turbulence as well, generated by the heat lifting the air mass off the ground. Other type of turbulence you get is wind shear, when winds of different directions come together. Let's get a dried riverbed below us. There's the railroad tracks coming back in. And off the nose, at the bend in the road, is the little town of Winona. Power lines all running down there. You can see the towers off to the right. It's all probably coming out of the Hoover Dam up in Nevada. There's Winona. Very colorful, but we're going to make the turn here and we're going to follow along the interstate in the old Route 66. Again, for the most part, it's overlaid and replaced Route 66. We have seen, and there are places where it runs parallel, so you can still actually drive on the old route. Very distinct engine in that Spitfire. We're 13 miles out from the airport. We're just going to carry along, kind of do this little bit of a curve around on the highway. That 13 miles is direct line. So we're about 18 miles or so flying. So we can see the railroad track there off to the right coming in, and shortly we're going to pick up part of the old Route 66. We'll be able to see it. It's still here just up ahead, but you can see the landscape is changing, a little bit more fractured and undulating, and definitely more green vegetation here. So the airport elevation at Flagstaff is 7,000 feet, so we're at circuit height here. We're only 1,000 feet off the ground right now. So the ground has definitely come up almost 3,000 feet or 2,000 feet. So you can see here coming up and crossing over the railroad tracks. That's the old Route 66 heading into Flagstaff. Right there. Definitely heavily treed area here, and there's the highway there. Oh, there's Wayne below us. So we're going to make the turn to the left here with the highway, and that's going to bring us on almost a straight in line on the airport. So let's hop in. We'll get ourselves all lined up and ready for that. Mountain with the trees up on top of it. We're just going to arc around here. Not quite seen the airport yet, but we will be in a few minutes. minutes. We're only 8 miles out. We're at 1,000 feet above. There we go. I've got the lights. Airport's in sight. There she is over there. So we're going to be landing on 2-1, and then we're going to exit to the right once we are down. Beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona. Definitely seeing the terrain. Just that short flight up from Winslow. Significant terrain changes here. We're going to leave the engine leaned out, obviously. We're at 7,000 feet now. Keep that power up. Looks like someone's flying the old Boeing 247 out there. Airport's dead ahead. Come in over the trees. So we're going to have a slight wind pushing us off from the right, which is not too bad. So we're going to start bringing our speed back. We'll hold the autopilot until we're ready to descend. We're 4 miles out. Slowly let her slow down here. And looking very nice. You can see the airport there, just off the end of the trees. Alright, autopilot is off. There's 3 miles. Start bringing the speed back. 85 knots. We'll go the first notch on the flaps. We're going to bring the RPMs back to 1500. Try to hold elevation or hold altitude. There's 8500. First notch of flaps. Bring the power back up. 2 whites, 2 reds. Trim for 65. Second notch of flaps. 2 whites, 2 reds. Alright, we're a little high. Bring the power back. Trimmed a little slow. 65. There we go. Power controls pitch. 65. A little low, so we'll add some power. That'll flatten our descent rate. Winds are blowing slightly out of the right quartering. It's only a couple knots. It's not too bad. We do have a displaced threshold, which we can see there. So we're going to be aiming for the large white indicators on the runway. A little more power. Keep that flat. So it wanes down. There we go. 2 whites, 2 reds. And we're now just doing this by eye. Get the power back. Just let her sink. She'll accelerate as she noses down. That's fine. Winds are almost died out directly down the runway. It's 55 knots for touchdown. And we're down. Come off at the next one here. Bring the power up. We don't want her to stall out on us. Alright, some flaps will come up. Taxi lights on, landing lights on, strobes are off. Flaps are all the way up. We'll just follow Wayne into the ramp. Now it's a nice short one today, but we got to see Meteor Crater, which was pretty impressively modeled actually. I'm happy it's there. Next time we go out in a week, we'll be flying to our next stop after Flagstaff, which is, let me just pull up the list. We're going to Sleegman. I believe that's still in Arizona. So it should be about the same distance. Should be pretty good as well. So we'll come in, we'll park up beside Wayne. Enjoy our time here in Flagstaff. Come around the other side of them. Go. Parking brake can go on. We'll bring the engine up to 1,000 RPM. So let it sit and stabilize for a second. We can turn off our taxi light, and our nav lights are off. And mixture in full cutoff. Throttle's fully back. Master and magnetos are off. Beacon light is off. Avionics are off. And ignition master is off. And there we go. Well, thanks guys for joining us on the flight today from Winslow, Arizona. Kevin's away. He's doing stuff for university. So he's spending his summer away, not doing a lot of flying. He'll be back in September, I believe. But thanks for coming by, Wayne. Do appreciate you, and it was a nice surprise to hear the Spitfire. I knew it was you as soon as I heard it. And welcome to Flagstaff. Beautiful here. We got some mountains and some hills, a lot of greenery, a lot different than we've seen for the last few weeks, with a lot of desert. So hope you all enjoyed. We will see you all on the next one. Our next flight is going to be on Friday. We're back in the Airbus A320 running the Phoenix Airbus, and we will be flying in Scandinavia, as I mentioned. So Stockholm to Helsinki. Hope you the bot got you again. Looks like you accidentally hit caps lock there. I saw it for a second just as it popped up. Anyway, Wayne, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon, and hope to see you a little bit more on the Discord. Thanks for watching, and if you want to join us, the Discord has all the information about the flights. You can find the link down in the chat. That's going to do it. Talk to you later. Thanks, Wayne. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.